Hi, my name is Chef Fernando Mojica. I'm here with Columbus State Community College Hospitality Programs. Thank you for joining us again today. We have another video ready for you. Today we're going to do a fun dish, very classic dish. We're going to do a seafood paella, right, out of Spain. However, we're going to take a little bit of a different approach in that where normally seafood paella will have clams and mussels and shrimp. We're going to use scallops today. So we have a little bit of shrimp. We have bay scallops here. Now, you can certainly use regular scallops, if you will, sea scallops. Only difference is, of course, the size, but then also bay scallops tend to be a little sweeter, and then they tend to be a little more tender than your base seafood scallops. So we're gonna use just about a pound of each one of those. We have a pinch of saffron. Saffron is a very nice herb. It has a little bit of that very subtle, grassy, earthy flavor, almost somewhat similar to the flavor profile of honey, but not as close to honey, but kind of similar, very earthy and so on. We have a couple of ounces of white wine. You can certainly leave these out. A couple of cloves of garlic, a couple of tablespoons of oil. We have one yellow onion here, 2 cups of rice, and then we have here on the stove, we have 4.5 cups of chicken stock, which we want it to be boiling before we use it. So this has been going on here for a few minutes. We also have 1 poblano pepper, and that's not part of the traditional recipe. I do like the flavor and the profile and how it fits with this particular dish. That's going to add a little bit of smokiness to the dish, a little bit of extra depth of flavor. You can certainly leave these out, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna fire roast these, and then we're gonna peel it. So to do that, we're going to just turn our stove on, and you can certainly do this on a grill, and we're just going to put this right over the flame, let it go until it starts to char on the outside, turn it around every couple of minutes and so on, and then we're gonna put it into a container. We're gonna, any sort of plastic container, metal container, we're gonna cover it in plastic, and we're gonna just let it sweat. And so what that's gonna do is that's gonna allow the skin to like really release, and then we'll show you how to go ahead and peel it and cut that. So this pepper is ready to go. Like I said, we put it in the flame, let it roast. You can see it's nice and charred all the way through. And what we did was we put it in this bowl. We wrapped it in plastic. What that does is that makes the pepper, the humidity, get real moist. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to really clean these. Now, one thing you don't want to do is I prefer not to run water on it after I did this, right? Because we spent all that time getting the flavor in there, getting this char flavor in there, and what happens is if you run it under cold water and start rinsing it to make it easier to peel it, you're also rinsing away all that flavor. So I prefer to do it like this. Sometimes it will help too if you take a little bit of a paper towel and you just lightly rub the paper towel on it. That will create a little bit of friction and get all that skin off, right? The other thing you can do sometimes is you can take the back of your knife and lightly rub the back of your knife, and again that will create a little bit of friction on the pepper, and it will get all the char out, because you want all this nice beautiful skin. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to take the pepper. Want to make sure that there's no any of these flakes in here, and from here what we're going to do is going to lightly pull it apart right into this bowl again. And as we do that, we want to make sure that we have all the seeds are staying here in this bowl, right? We want to make sure that we scrape all the seeds off from here. Get all those out, and then you'll do the same thing on the other pepper. And from here, you just cut it and go ahead, and we're ready to start using it on the paella. All right, so we're ready to start cooking. What we're going to do first, though, is we're going to dice the onion. We're going to go right about 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. And then we also took a little bit of the chicken stock that we had, just a couple of ounces or so. And we're going to steep the saffron right into that boiling liquid. What that's going to do is that's going to rehydrate again the saffron, get all the aromas to release, get the color to release, and that's going to make our end result real nice. Colorful, it's gonna have a nice bright color and so on. So we're gonna start by doing that, and then we're gonna start making the paella. So we have all of the ingredients ready. Now, one thing I want to point out, traditionally you will make the paella in a paella pan, right? Special pan that, where you will cook it. So it's a wet pot cooking. And traditionally the reason we do that is because the paella will be served family style right into that pan. So it comes out of the stove and it just gets served family style. So you can certainly use as a tape pan that we're using today, right? And then serve it on a platter. And so on. So just wanted to point that out. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our oil. We're going to warm the oil a little bit up. Now we season the seafood with a little salt and a little pepper. What we're going to do is we're going to lightly, very, very lightly start the process of cooking the seafood here. But we don't want to get him any color, and we don't want to overcook him. We're just going to give him just a little bit of time just to really seal in that seasoning before we move on to the next part. All right, so just a little bit, just about a minute or so, kind of let that seasoning sear in, start to get a little bit of color. We're gonna flip him over. Again, we don't wanna overcook him. We don't wanna have any color. We're gonna go ahead and add our scallops, again, just for a minute or two. And then we're gonna remove these from the pan and start the rice and the vegetables and so on. So we have our seafood started. Again, we just sealed the flavor there. We're gonna start with our onions. And again, we just want to sweat these a little bit. We don't wanna give them any color, right? So we're gonna lower our flame a little bit. We're not sauteing, we're sweating, getting to soften up, start getting a little flavor. What this is doing is this is building flavors. We have the flavor of the seafood here. Now we're gonna add the flavor of the onions. Then we're gonna add the flavor of the garlic and the wine and so on. And as we build these flavors, the end result is going to be a little bit better than just throwing everything together. All right, so we have our onions ready. This went off for like 3-4 minutes. We're going to add our rice. Now, unlike when you do a rice pilaf or a classical rice, you want to toast the rice in the oil and kind of toast it a little bit. You don't want to do this with paella. We're just going to let that sit there. We're going to go ahead and add our garlic, and the reason we do this towards the end rather than with the onions is because we don't want that garlic to burn, right? We're going to go ahead and add our peppers and our seafood over here. And then we're going to add our boiling stock, as well as our stock where you can see the color here of the saffron, right? It's really bright color. So we want to go ahead and add these, and at this point we're going to bring this up to a boil again. And once it's boiling, what we're going to do is we're going to lower it to a simmer. So we're going to go ahead and add our wine as well. And then, like I said, we're going to go ahead and simmer it. We're going to cover this. You can use a lid, you can use plastic and foil. We're going to let it simmer so it's low boil until for about 15-20 minutes until the rice is tender, it's cooked all the way through, and your seafood is going to cook it all the way through. And then from there, we'll go ahead and serve it. We'll let this cook, we'll let this simmer. The shrimp is cooked this time, the scallops are cooked this time. We season it with a little salt and pepper, and now we're gonna go ahead and serve it. So again, I hope you see how easy this was. One pot dish. One thing to point out, which actually is very traditional, as the rice cooks and the moisture starts to evaporate, the bottom of the pan is gonna start to stick to the pan a little bit and it's gonna get toasted. That's good, right? You don't want it to be burnt, but you want to have some of that toastiness of the rice. That's gonna just traditionally add just a little bit more crunch and so on. So we talked a little bit about the paella pan. It normally gets served on family style. So we're gonna serve these in the bowl family style. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you join us again for the next video.
Hi, my name is Rayleigh Harper with the School of Hospitality Management and Culinary Arts at Columbus State Community College. We hope you're enjoying our new YouTube channel and would love for you to subscribe to see more videos and chef demonstrations. Also, please visit us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Lastly, you can visit cscc.edu, the Hospitality Department page, if you would like to learn more information about our programs and our school.